Hi everyone, my name is Terry Roswell and today's Tuesday, which means it's time to discuss our book of the week, which is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonam-Young. First, this is a spoiler-free section, so if you haven't read this book yet, don't worry about it, it won't be spoiled for you here. There will be some spoiler-related things that I want to discuss, but that will be later on in the video and you will get plenty of warning. If you'd like to join in on any of the discussions, send me your thoughts, comments, or even a short video clip of you discussing the book. Then I'll list the next upcoming 4 books in the description below. I rated this book 4 stars. I was really surprised with just how much I enjoyed it. In fact, I was not going to actually read this book originally. I was going to read a completely different book by the same author, because if you know anything about me, if you've listened to any of my other reviews, then you may already be aware that I'm not a fan of the pregnancy trope. It tends to be one that I really try to avoid. So it was actually Fee, who I'll absolutely tag below, who convinced me to give this one a chance, and I'm really glad that she did, because this book reminded me that it's not necessarily all about the tropes. Sometimes it's just about how well it's executed. Okay, so quick summary. Out on a Limb follows Win and Bo, 2 characters who unexpectedly find themselves navigating a life-changing situation together. What follows is a sweet, funny romance that is about figuring things out, building relationships, and supporting each other through life's unexpected twists. Ultimately, it's a story about connection, vulnerability, family, and finding someone who sees you for exactly who you are. If I was going to compare this to any other book, then I'd say that it probably has a similar sort of vibe to something like First Time Caller or Finn Roads Forever. Maybe something a little bit like Love Rosie, especially for the warmth and the emotional connection. I will say that obviously the pregnancy trope does make it a little bit different to most of those recommendations. However, if you do like a sweet, character-driven romance, then you might really enjoy this one. To be honest, I knew right from chapter 1 that I was probably going to enjoy this book. The humour just landed immediately for me. I think that it was funny, it was easy to read, and it was just charming right from the beginning. And sometimes I think that's all you need. You know, not every romance has to be dramatic or emotionally devastating. Sometimes you just want to spend some time with characters that you are genuinely rooting for, and that is exactly what this book gave me. I think the characters were definitely a big highlight for me. I mean, I did like Win, but just to talk about Bo for a second, because that man was ridiculously sweet. I think that this was a great example of when people say, books that were written for women by women. He's supportful, he's thoughtful, emotionally mature, communicative, and just overall genuinely kind. So it wasn't difficult to spend most of the book genuinely rooting for him. One thing that I really enjoyed was the representation. Both of the main characters are missing a limb, but they both have very different experiences and perspectives. I think that the book did a really good job of it, and it felt like it was a part of their character without feeling like it defined who they were. The romance part worked really well for me. There was some spice, but I wouldn't say that there were absolutely tons of it. I think that it had a really good balance between the romance, the character development, the emotional connection, as well as physical attraction. The relationship felt believable, and because I really liked both of the characters, it was really easy to be invested in their journey. The pacing was great, it never felt like it slowed or dragged, and I think I flew through it because it was really enjoyable and easy to read. So as for the question, would I recommend the book? Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you are someone who absolutely hates a pregnancy trope with every fibre of your being, then chances are this one's still probably not going to be for you. But if you're just not really a big fan, or you're kind of avoiding them because you're not sure, then I absolutely would encourage you to pick it up. Because this book showed me that even a trope that I don't necessarily enjoy can absolutely still work, especially if it's done right and I am invested in the characters. So, will I be reading any more by this author? Yes, absolutely. In fact, now I'm even more curious about the books by Hannah Bonam-Young that I had originally planned on reading. Earlier on in the video, I said that you'd get plenty of warning for any upcoming spoilers. Now, this is that moment, so if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going and doing that first, because beyond this point, there will absolutely be spoilers. One of my favourite scenes was the Dungeons and Dragons reveal. As someone who plays D&D myself, the scene where you find out that the best friend's boyfriend had secretly been playing D&D with Bo and the others this whole time, I thought was just really funny. It added so much humour and charm and character to the story. One thing that I absolutely appreciated was how it never felt like the pregnancy absolutely overtook the story. It was definitely an important part of the story and an important part of the setup, but it was very much it was still very much a relationship focused romance. Like, I wasn't reading the book because I wanted to figure out what happened with the pregnancy. I was reading it because I wanted those two characters to be happy, and honestly, that's probably the best compliment that I could give any book with a pregnancy trope. Bo was just consistently wonderful throughout the whole story. The communication skills was refreshing, and while they did absolutely face their challenges, it didn't ever feel like the author was just manufacturing drama for the sake of it. Like, it sort of just felt like two people trying to navigate a rather complicated situation, and I actually quite enjoyed that. So overall, Out on a Limb was sweet, funny, heartwarming, and surprisingly emotional. It's a book that I almost didn't read purely because of the trope, and I'm really glad I ended up reading it. Sometimes a good story can really change your mind on something you thought you really didn't enjoy, and for me, this is one of those books. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book? Next week, we're discussing House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, so don't forget to get your thoughts and comments in by Sunday, the 7th of June at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Discord. The following week will be Rook and Rebel, but don't forget, if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do now list next 4 books down below along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's always appreciated, and I will see you next week. Bye. If you like romance, fantasy, or even thriller, basically anything fiction book related, then I suggest you head on over to the channel's intro video, where you can find out more information on how you can take part in this online book club. We announce books at least 4 weeks in advance, and we accept your bookish feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below video, send in a voice note, or even send me a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message.